Now, if your AC air handler is in the attic, I highly suggest calling a professional AC tech. Now, if you open up your air handler and you see a red LED shining, you want to turn off the air handler circuit breaker switch. Alright, and that light should turn off. Now we're going to go ahead and open up the panel. Sometimes there is a kill switch when you open up the panel, it turns off the high voltage. I got some professional advice from an AC tech, and he said to check the outside fan. If the outside fan is working, then that capacitor most likely is good. Then check the AC handler. If the AC handler is not working, then check the capacitor that's connected to the blower, and that's what I'm doing right here. Now, when handling the capacitor, it can shock you, so you want to discharge the capacitor and make sure you have an insulator, like rubber gloves and rubber handles on whatever you're using to discharge the capacitor. And I'm using my fluke meter and checking out the capacitance. In the capacitor, it should read 7.5, and it does. It reads 7.5. So this actually is a good capacitor. Regardless, I still ordered a new capacitor on Amazon, and the capacitors last around 15 years, and my unit is 18 years old. So most likely it would eventually need a new capacitor anyway. So I'm going to disconnect the wires to the blower on the circuit board, and I did take a picture for a reference, and I'm going to remove the blower and try to get the part number off the blower and order the blower. The motor, basically. Pretty confident it is the motor because of the sound. The sound's coming from the motor, and the smell is coming from the motor. Using 8mm. Now I'm using a pretty big wrench to loosen the nut because it's on there quite tight. It's a 10mm socket I'm using to remove the motor. Right here I'm removing the ground wire. The new motor comes with the ground wire, and I'm using WD-40 so I can easily slip out the motor. Now sometimes you may have to bang on the other end and it should slip right out. Part number is right here. And since you have everything apart, you want to clean out the wheel. Make sure all the dust is cleaned out. Alright, so it's numbered right here, number 1. You want the wires facing the capacitor. So let's go ahead and slide it in, and you have to slide it right in that middle. Make sure this is all lined up evenly. Okay, and the capacitor mounts right here. Wedge something under here so it doesn't go all the way down, because if it goes all the way down and you screw it in, it's going to sound like that in your AC unit. Just go ahead and lift it up a little bit, but you don't want to lift it up too much and then scratch this side. So let's go ahead and I'm going to wedge this under here, and let's tighten that bolt. And you want a pretty big crescent wrench. Alright. And let's go ahead and spin it. Sounds good, doesn't look wobbly. I forgot to connect the ground wire, which connects on here. These are 1/4 inch. When you slide in the blower, make sure you line it up properly. If it's crooked, you may have issues later on. I can't imagine anyone doing this in the attic. If your AC handler is in the attic, hire someone. Here's the new capacitor here. Picture of it. Once you double check your work and connections, go ahead and turn on the circuit breaker switch. Closing the kill switch should activate the blower. Sometimes you may have to turn on the thermostat manually. Here.